My husband chose his first love over me. The woman my husband always loved, and I were both poisoned by kidnappers. He held the only antidote. He chose her. I was the one who spent a year in a coma. When I finally woke up, his first words to me were, "I'm so glad you're back," or "I missed you." They were, "We need a divorce. Claire's pregnant." I looked at this stranger, this cruel man I supposedly married, and asked the only question that came to my mind. "I'm sorry, who are you?" The fact that I woke up at all was, according to the doctors, a miracle. They used that exact word. A medical miracle. A parade of specialists, titans in their fields, cycled through my room, running tests, peering into my eyes, and murmuring in disbelief as they confirmed my vital functions were returning. According to their charts, I should have been a ghost in a machine for the rest of my life, a permanent resident of that silent, twilight country between living and dying. In the 2 months of grueling physical therapy that followed, my parents visited me exactly once. There was no joy on their faces, no tearful relief. Instead, they cornered a doctor in the hallway and asked, with hushed urgency, if I could still get pregnant. When the doctor confirmed that I could, their expressions curdled into something ugly and disappointed. They never came back after that. I thought I should feel the cold sting of heartbreak, but there was nothing. A person who has already lost all hope has no room for such luxuries. My brother, Leo, came to pick me up on the day of my discharge. "Claire been having a rough time," he started, his eyes fixed on the road. "Her heart's been acting up, the stress of it all, so don't be mad at Mom and Dad for not visiting more. You know how fragile she's always been." He trailed off, noticing the blankness of my expression. He mistook my apathy for a silent protest, and his voice hardened with impatience. "For God's sake, Ava, can you just for once not be jealous of your own sister?" His volume spiked, and I flinched, genuinely confused. "What? Sorry, I was watching that dog. Look at it crying its eyes out. It's ridiculous." On the sidewalk, a husky the size of a small person was howling. A crowd of laughing onlookers gathered around it. I couldn't have cared less about what Leo was saying. He realized he'd misread the situation but offered no apology. He just plowed ahead. "Claire's health isn't great. She's been under a lot of stress this past year. So when you get home, just try not to start anything with her." "Okay." I cut him off before he could finish. The condescending tone in his voice was like sandpaper on my nerves, and I just wanted him to shut up. His brow furrowed again. "What are you planning now?" I saw his gaze in the rearview mirror. "Why would you ask me that?" He opened his mouth, then closed it, lost for words. "You know what? Maybe don't come home just yet," he finally said, sighing. "Claire moved back in for a bit. The Prescotts' house has plenty of space, so you should go there. You and Carter need to talk. If it's really over between you two, just end it properly." I just stared, a complete blank. Just then, a sharp rap on the window made me jump. It was Carter Prescott, a man I'd known practically my whole life. Leo got out of the car. I saw their mouths moving, a brief, tense exchange. Then Leo opened my door. "Good, Carter's here for you," he said, all false brightness. "You should go with him. Whatever is going on between you two, you need to sort it out yourselves." Carter, however, looked like he had zero patience for a long conversation. He got straight to the point. "We need a divorce. Claire's pregnant." I blinked. Maybe he expected hysterics, a screaming match, sobbing, the kind of raw, messy scene he was clearly bracing for. But I just felt nothing, a strange detachment as if I were listening to gossip about a stranger. The coldness in Carter's eyes intensified. "Look, I know I owe you," he said, his voice clipped. "Name your terms for the divorce. Anything you want within reason, it's yours." "I'm sorry," I said, my voice laced with genuine confusion. "Who are you? Are you my husband? That's impossible. I have a boyfriend. His name is Ethan." I am starting to get angry now. This wasn't funny, not at all. I was in love with someone. Ethan was kind, he was gentle. He was everything this cold, arrogant stranger in front of me was not. Chapter 2. She left the country because the Prescott family was on the verge of bankruptcy. I cut in, my voice dangerously calm. She was afraid Carter would drag her down with him. But what did she just say? That I took advantage of her being gone to steal him. Please. She's the one who dumped him when he was broke and came crawling back the second his family made a comeback. And the kidnapping a year ago, it was Claire who called me, who asked me to meet her at that location. The police themselves said the kidnappers never asked for a ransom. So what was their goal? Who were they working for? And let's not forget the most important fact. There was no poison in Claire's system. She's the one who drank the single dose of antidote. She wanted me dead. A cold realization washed over me, and I voiced it out loud. Or maybe it was Carter's idea. He wanted to get rid of me. The old me wouldn't agree to a divorce, and I was the only thing standing between him and Claire. Ava, what the hell are you talking about? Carter's voice, sharp and lethal, cut through the air from behind me. I spun around to face him. Is it so impossible? I challenged, looking him straight in the eye. Either you did it or she did. How else do you explain me being the only one who was poisoned? The kidnapper said he brought 2 glasses of water, Carter explained, his brow furrowed. He claimed Claire knocked hers over when he wasn't looking, pretending she drank it. Are you kidding me? I spat. You actually believe that bullshit? He scowled. What has gotten into you? What's gotten into me? I'm defending myself. Shouldn't I? You claim to be my husband, yet you cheated on me with my sister and had a child with her while I was in a coma. One of you is a home wrecker, the other is a scumbag. Do you really expect me to be polite? My relentless questions finally made his face turn thunderous. I was never in love with you, he seethed. If you hadn't been in a coma, we would have been divorced long ago. Claire and I are the ones who are meant to be. Oh, a real love story, I mocked. I suppose she was the one by your side when your family almost went bankrupt. She was the one who pulled you out of your depression. She was the one who pawned her jewelry to pay your grandmother's hospital bills. For the first time, a flicker of guilt crossed Carter's face. I admit I owe you, Ava. Whatever you want as compensation, I'll give it to you. He wasn't a complete monster. He knew what I'd done for him. He just cared more about the ghost of his former self. Of course I want compensation, I said coolly. Company shares, the house, your savings, I want half. Carter nodded. Done, but... Oh, Carter, my stomach hurts, Claire suddenly wailed, clutching her abdomen. It hurts so much. I rolled my eyes. Same old tricks. I know you're good at playing the victim, but did you have to pull this stunt the second he agreed to give me my share? Once we're divorced, everything he has will be yours. Are you really that desperate over the little bit I'm getting? So tacky. Maya emerged from the room, phone in hand, having already called the police. She heard my last comment and burst out laughing. Girl, if I'd known that not loving Carter would make you this sharp, I would have pushed you off a cliff years ago. Look at you now. Confident, powerful. This is the Ava I always knew you could be. Carter did not look pleased to hear this. His expression was dark and stormy. I shrugged. If I had to guess, I'd say I fell for Carter because I was starved for affection. My parents never liked me. Claire was always the sick, fragile one who might die at any moment, so they had to hover over her. Leo was always getting into trouble, so they had to bail him out. I was the one who never caused them any problems, so eventually, they just stopped paying attention to me at all. I was so desperate for someone to love me when Carter showed up. Maya lunged forward, clapping a hand over my mouth. Don't think about it. What if you remember everything? It'll be a disaster. You can't go back to loving him, Ava. He doesn't deserve it. Chapter 3. Claire had never seen me like this, so vicious and articulate. For a moment, she forgot to play her part, and a sliver of pure hatred flashed in her eyes. That's enough, Ava, Leo barked. Claire is not the kind of person you're describing. You've always misunderstood her. It's not her fault she was born with a weak constitution. Why can't you let it go after all these years? I didn't even glance at him. My eyes were locked on Carter. I'm not greedy. I'll have my lawyer contact yours. Everything I'm legally entitled to, I want down to the last penny. Once the assets are divided, we sign the papers. I won't waste another second of your precious time. My eagerness to be rid of him clearly bruised his ego. He just stood there, scowling, and didn't reply. Claire, meanwhile, started crying again, her whimpers of pain growing louder. Carter couldn't stand to see her suffer. As he scooped her into his arms, he shot a final warning at me. "I'll have this handled as soon as possible, but I'm warning you, Ava, don't you dare lay a hand on Claire. If I find out you're messing with her behind my back, I will make you pay." "You have got to be kidding me, you psycho," Maya screamed at his retreating back. "It doesn't always hurt Claire. When has Ava ever done anything to her? Wasting her life helping a piece of trash like you rebuild your empire was a nightmare. You deserve to be bankrupt. You deserve to be struck by lightning." Carter didn't look back. He just carried Claire down the hall and disappeared. Leo opened his mouth to say something else, but I just turned and shut the hotel room door in his face. Maya found me the best divorce lawyer in the city. Her instructions were simple. Don't leave that bitch a single dime that's rightfully yours. While the legal battle was gearing up, my parents showed up. They started with the guilt trip. They admitted they'd been hard on me over the years, but it wasn't intentional, they claimed. "It's just so difficult with 3 children, one sick, one rebellious, and one who was distant. You'll understand when you have kids of your own," my mother said, her voice dripping with faux sympathy. "No matter what we do, you'll find fault. You think we owe you something for the rest of your life." I almost laughed. They say you can't know a parent's love until you have a child of your own. But sometimes, having children just reveals that some parents are incapable of love. We spend half our lives healing from them and the other half pretending they loved us all along. It's a joke. "Just get to the point," I said, cutting through the performance. My father's face tightened with anger. He looked ready to yell, but my mother placed a restraining hand on his arm. She sighed, adopting a fragile, wounded expression. "Your mom and dad won't be around forever. Ava, your brother and sister are the ones who will be with you for your whole life. You don't want to end up with no family at all, do you?" A surge of anger burned through me. "Enough. Say what you came to say. I don't want to hear this nonsense. You refuse to admit you played favorites, that you never loved me, because you want to emotionally blackmail me into stepping aside for Claire and continuing to clean up Leo's messes for the rest of my life. Have you forgotten everything you've done? When I was little, I had severe asthma. Every attack felt like I was drowning. Running 10 yards would leave me gasping for air. The first time I told them, my mother snapped, "Your sister is sick. We are very busy. Can you stop lying for attention? It's incredibly annoying." After that, I never told them about my health again. One day, I made a short dash through the rain to find shelter and collapsed on the sidewalk, unable to breathe. A neighbor found me and rushed me to the hospital. I was lucky. I was young, and my lungs recovered. The neighbor paid for everything. When my parents finally showed up, I was already stable. The first thing they said was, "What are you trying to pull now? Can't you just behave?" The neighbor, a kind woman who had seen it all, finally lost it. She screamed at them, called them unfit to be parents, cursed them for not even knowing their own daughter had asthma. They were humiliated. For a long time after that, they barely spoke to me. That memory is a nail driven straight into my heart. It will be there forever. Chapter 4. Perhaps it was the cold fury in my eyes, the undisguised disgust, that finally made them drop the act. "We know you're divorcing Carter," my father said, his voice flat. "Legally, you're entitled to a share of the assets, but Carter never truly loved you. In his heart, you were never really his wife. Take a couple million and walk away. Don't be greedy." I wasn't surprised to hear those words come out of his mouth. I looked at them, my expression like ice. "What is rightfully mine, I will take, all of it." My father exploded. "Don't you dare be so unreasonable. If you take half, what will be left for your sister?" My mother tugged at his sleeve, trying to silence him. I let out a cold, humorless laugh. "How much a mistress gets depends on the baby in her belly. I don't know if that child is even Carter, but I do know his parents are not fools, especially not after what they went through. They don't trust anyone anymore. For Claire to marry into that family, it will only happen if Carter gives up his entire inheritance." From the moment I agreed to the divorce, I knew Claire would never set foot in the Prescott family home as its matriarch. The only reason Carter's parents accepted me was because I had earned their trust. When their company was failing, when old friends turned their backs, I was the one who stayed. I worked in finance then, and I called in every favor I had, begging my contacts to give the Prescotts a lifeline. Then, as if things weren't bad enough, Carter's grandmother got sick. She needed money for surgery. I was the one who borrowed it for her. Those 2 years changed Carter's parents. They had been kind, charitable people. After being betrayed and nearly ruined, they became guarded and suspicious of everyone, including their own son. I was the only exception. When the family business was back on its feet, stronger than ever, Carter's grandmother on her deathbed made him promise to marry me. "If you let that girl go," she'd told him, "you will regret it for the rest of your life." I married Carter because he got down on one knee, a ring in his hand, and begged me to. Who the hell was Claire? Even if she was the great lost love of his life, after what she did, the Prescotts would never let her through the door. Not unless Carter was willing to be cut off without a cent. And after I took my half of his personal assets, how much would he even have left? My defiance made my father's face turn purple with rage. "That is your sister, not some mistress." "She is a mistress." My mother sighed, tears welling up on cue. "You're all grown up now, your wings are strong. We can't tell you what to do. Just know that we tried to warn you. I hope you don't live to regret this." I used to fall for that act every time. Her tears were the chains she used to bind me. "Not anymore. Don't worry, I won't." My indifference seemed to finally crack her composure. "Fine," she snapped. As they were leaving, they made one last attempt. "It's clear you have no room for this family in your heart anymore, is that right? Then don't bother coming back." "Okay," I said calmly. "Let's sever ties then. From now on, we will go our separate ways. As for the cost of raising me, if I recall correctly, in the first year of my marriage, the Prescotts gave you over $3 million and bought a villa for Leo. That was a gift to you on my account. Consider it payment for services rendered. Our relationship is officially terminated." My calmness was terrifying. My mother's eyes widened in shock. She thought she still had that power over me, and I had just stripped it from her, completely and irrevocably. Before they could respond, I shut the door. They never tried to contact me again. Claire, on the other hand, launched a public smear campaign. First, she hired a popular online writer to craft a beautiful, tragic love story about her and Carter. Once the story went viral, she coyly liked the post, confirming that she and Carter were the real-life inspiration. Her plan was to slowly control the narrative, to paint herself as the romantic heroine and me as the wicked, scheming wife. For a little while, it worked. People were swept up in the romance of it all, especially the dramatic kidnapping plot, where the evil wife was exposed. But Claire was too impatient. Before public opinion had solidified, she publicly confirmed that the story was about her, Carter, and me. That's when the internet detectives got to work. They dug up the official police statement from the kidnapping a year ago. Chapter 5. Wait, the police report says both women were poisoned, but only one got the antidote and the other was sent to the hospital. And the kidnappers never asked for a ransom. What kind of soap opera is this? I remember this. The wife's name is Ava Hayes. The husband, Carter Prescott, didn't give her the antidote. He gave it to Claire Hayes, who it turns out wasn't even poisoned. Ava survived but was in a coma. I think she just woke up this year. Okay, we need an expert here. Who was behind this? Did Ava stage it herself? Did Claire set it up to get rid of her rival? Or did Carter plan it to finally be with his one true love? The story exploded online. When Maya saw it, she went ballistic. She couldn't believe Claire had the audacity to play the victim after everything she'd done. So Maya activated her network. She got people with real influence, using their real names, to go online and systematically debunk Claire's story, exposing her lies one by one. Overnight, Claire became the poster child for entitled, manipulative homewreckers. The next day, my phone blew up with calls from my parents. I didn't answer. I blocked their numbers. Then Leo showed up at my door. He looked furious, but the moment he saw me, his anger seemed to deflate. "Do you have to make everything so ugly for everyone?" he asked, his voice weary. "Claire has been crying at home for a day and a night. She's pregnant. She can't take this kind of stress." I just looked at him. Was I the one who started spreading lies online? He froze. In his mind, no matter what happened, I was always the one to blame first. But what right did he have to condemn me? "The villa you're living in," I said quietly, "was a gift from the Prescotts because of me. You're living a life funded by my suffering, and you still have the nerve to slander me. You're pathetic." Leo frowned. "That villa, Claire told me she asked Carter to give it to me. That's not true." I had no idea what lies Claire had spun for him. By the time he got that villa, she and Carter were already secretly seeing each other again. They had probably all met up many times without my knowledge. "If that's what you want to believe, fine. I'll just ask Carter's parents to take it back. Luckily for me, they were smart about it. The deed doesn't transfer to your name until I produce a Prescott heir." The villa was in Leo's possession, but it was still legally owned by the Prescott Corporation. As if on cue, my phone rang. It was Alina Prescott, Carter's mother. The moment I answered, her anxious voice filled the room. "Ava, honey, don't you listen to any of that nonsense online. If Carter seriously tries to be with that Claire girl, I will throw him out of this family myself. And I have to tell you I'm pregnant. Twins, both boys. I've been out of the country to focus on the pregnancy, but your father-in-law has already flown back to deal with Carter. If that boy won't listen to reason, he can get out and take that girl with him." I deliberately put the call on the speaker. Leo heard every word. The color drained from his face. "Mom," I said, my voice catching, and I started to cry for real. There, darling, don't cry," she soothed. "I'll be back to see you tomorrow, and if you want to divorce him, you go right ahead. I'll adopt you as my own daughter. We'll find you a wonderful new man, and when you get married again, I'll give you the grandest dowry you've ever seen." Leo looked like he'd seen a ghost. He never could have imagined that Carter's parents genuinely loved me like their own daughter. Back when Carter was chasing after Claire, when the family was on the brink of collapse, he'd abandoned his parents and his dying grandmother. The Prescotts had wept over having such a son. My arrival had brought warmth back into their shattered lives. "Thank you, Mom," I managed through tears. "But you're pregnant, please don't travel. Stay safe. Once I've handled everything here, I'll come and see you." Alina was 46, a high-risk pregnancy. The last thing she needed was a long flight. I suspected she'd only decided to have more children when she realized she could no longer rely on her firstborn. "When his grandmother made you two get married, I was against it," she confessed. "I thought you were walking into a pit of fire, but you loved him so much I hoped marriage would change him. Then the kidnapping happened. After you were hospitalized, Carter did a full investigation. He found proof, Ava. It was Claire who orchestrated the whole thing." My heart stopped. The world went cold. Leo's face turned ashen. "That's why I left the country," she continued softly. "To get healthy, to have these bobbies." The tears froze on my cheeks. After a few more minutes, I hung up. "I'm sorry, Ava." Leo's voice was a choked whisper. Chapter 6. I said nothing. After a long, heavy silence, I finally spoke. "What good is your apology now? Leo, this is the last time I will ever call you that. Don't ever show your face to me again. I want nothing to do with any of you." A month later, it was done. The assets were divided. To make up for what he'd done, Carter was surprisingly generous, giving me exactly half of everything. The day we got the divorce certificate, he tried to say something. "I'm sorry for everything. If you ever need anything, just call me. I'll do what I can to help." He was cut off by Claire, who sauntered over, beaming, and looped her arm through his. "Let's go, darling," she chirped. "Time to get our marriage license." They couldn't even wait 5 minutes. In the next second, a swarm of reporters materialized out of nowhere, surrounding them. "Mr. Prescott, the Prescott Group just released a statement nomming your younger brothers as the new heirs. Do you have a comment?" Mr. Prescott, your father just held a press conference announcing he has officially disowned you. Was this woman worth giving up your family and your entire fortune? The reporters pressed in, a feeding frenzy of cameras and microphones. Listening to their questions, Carter's face went slack with shock, all composure gone. He looked utterly lost. Claire's sweet, innocent facade finally cracked, her expression twisting into a mask of pure horror. I pushed my way out of the crowd. From a distance, I watched their world crumble, and I threw my head back and laughed. Maya was waiting to pick me up. A week later, I heard that Carter had knelt outside the Prescott family gate for a day and a night, but no one came out. Claire was there too, apparently, trying to use her pregnancy as leverage, but she was met with only scorn. 2 weeks after that, Alina and her husband brought me to their home abroad. They took out a full-page ad in the paper announcing me as their adopted daughter, with full rights of inheritance to the Prescott group. They gave me a future and a family. My biological parents found out, of course. They tried desperately to get my address, wanting to visit. Leo tried to find me several times, too, without success. I was living in a castle on a hill, finally at peace. Alina gave birth to 2 beautiful, healthy twin boys. They looked nothing like Carter, which made me love them all the more. The last I heard of Carter, he and Claire had a nasty breakup. The fall from grace was too much for him. He couldn't handle the loss of status, the ridicule, the abandonment by his family. He tried to kill himself a few times, but was always saved. A man like him doesn't get to die that easily. He has to live a long life, marinating in his misery. As for Claire, without my financial support propping up her family, her life of luxury was over. A vain, shallow woman like her could only end up as some rich old man's mistress. A few years later, I met a young man who looked so much like Ethan. And just like that, the final wall in my memory crumbled. The Ethan I had loved died in a fire. Carter was the one who pulled me from the flames. That was why I had loved him so fiercely, so blindly. A love born from misplaced gratitude. But Maya told me the whole story. Carter had only grabbed my hand at the very end. The real hero was Ethan. He pushed me toward Carter, using the last of his strength. He saved us both, but in the final moments. As the building collapsed, he was too weak to pull himself out. "Take care of her for me," were his last words to Carter. Maya had been afraid to tell me, thinking it was better to let that pain stay buried. Carter had been given a sacred trust, and he had failed. Now the world stretched out before me, a vast and beautiful map. And I was finally ready to explore it, alone. The end. And that's a wrap on today's reading here at Booked for Drama. If you felt anything, rage, swoon, secondhand heartbreak, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your fellow drama lovers. If you have any requests, drop them in the comments. Until next time, keep reading and keep the drama on the page.